Ready. Let's do this.
Perfect. So we just did
it. Start just breaking down.
We were talking about how we always get anxious before we do stuff like this. Even me. Oh, I'm especially anxious now too, because I just found out today I hit the 1,000 downloads. So, which is a great thing to just pop on you right as we get into a podcast we said we're anxious about doing. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, people actually fucking download this stuff. They can't listen to it, but maybe they download it. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, that's really cool. I'm really happy about that. So I'm like, well, great. Now people are definitely listening to it. Ooh. Like, okay, really? So, maybe it's an example of like how not to behave. Maybe I'm going like the antithesis to like how people should behave. So I'm using as an example of what not to do.
Okay. So like that didn't help with my anxiety. As you were saying, I was like, oh, also
I saw your face just freeze too. It's hilarious.
I was just like, oh, okay. So I'm just gonna mentally process that in 5 seconds. I'll be right back.
Well, so funny. So we hopped on, and like our friendship is all based on like Zoom chats. We Zoom with people from all across Tribe Nation and other nations too. And so like this is the only way we've ever actually communicated. So like when we first hopped on here, so we chatted for a little while before we hit record. Like we started flowing in the conversation the entire time. Like this would be amazing on the podcast. But I mean, you just had something like happen that got you kind of upset about some stuff. So we were talking through it some too. But I'm like, yeah, that's why I wanted to have you on, because you're someone that you have a very logical and loud voice, and loud meaning that you're not afraid to say things that need to be said, even if it's going to be abrasive and piss certain people off, because the people you're pissing off are typically the ones that need to hear it the most.
Well, to be honest, I say what I want because I know I can fight. That kind of helps too, knowing that like I could probably hit you if it gets to that point. So I don't mind saying something, because that's how, like, I guess I was raised. Like, you better be able to fight if you're gonna talk the way you do. And I am a loud person, and I'm very opinionated. So I don't know. Especially if I see someone hurting, because I know what it feels like to hurt. Or if I feel like they're not being listened to, maybe this is just me being entitled, but I'd take it upon myself to be like, hey, first of all. So a lot of that plays into me just saying whatever I feel like, whenever I feel like.
Yeah, I think a hero complex can take different forms. Mine definitely takes a certain route. And I think that may be your version of it. Maybe you have more of an anti-hero complex.
I do. Someone, like, I forgot what the show's called. It just came out about superheroes, but what they're actually like.
Oh, The Boys.
Yes, The Boys. Yes. So what's his name? The guy, the anti-hero guy. Damn, he comes in and he's the guy that says the invisible cunt. Oh, isn't it? It's the invisible cunt.
I can't remember his name.
Okay, first of all, Billy? Yeah, first of all, he's fine. Dude, I would follow him anyway. Second of all, yeah. I identify a lot with him because with hero movies, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but there's a reason I don't like Superman. I really don't. It's because he's too goody-goody. He really is. He just flies around in underwear like that's fucking normal. And he does all this stuff, and it never shows you the repercussions of his actions. And this dude's like stopping trains, picking up buildings, throwing people around. It only shows the intentions of his actions and not the repercussions behind them. So I'm not a huge fan of Superman for that reason. So when I see Billy, I identify with him because he shows all that anger and frustration and revenge, and people look at him like, that's bad. Choose the good. And it's like, no, dude, like, we're just going to allow people to act however they want, and we're not going to do anything about it, and then you're going to act like, fine, I'll be the bad guy, but they deserve what they get. And so I identify with him hard. Like, he's awesome. Like,
I think a lot of people can too, especially people that realize that like it's so much isn't black and white. Like there's certain cases of morality that are pretty black and white, but for the most part, nothing is. Everything's shades of gray. And if you walk through life with this like dichotomy, you're just thinking like, well, this is the way this. You're like a bilinear track. There's only two ways you can go, given every different option. Especially when it comes to understanding people, then you're not going to ever grow, and you're going to be just fucking annoying to everyone around you because you don't know how the world freaking works.
Yeah,
you're impossible to communicate with.
That's why I tell people, when I meet someone, I just take you for what you are. I don't really have, I do, because I used to do that. I used to build expectations for people and like ideas of what I thought they should be or what I thought they could be. And it's so detrimental, not only to the person, but to myself. I just stopped doing that. And I just, however you come to me is how I accept you. And that's the form that I accept. And you can tarnish that form or you can build on that form, but that is who you are. At the end of the day, it is who it is. You are who you are. You is who you is. And that's just it. And a lot of people have issues with that because they have that black and white spectrum. And I'm like, people live on the gray spectrum. You're all different shades and everything in between. And if more people saw it that way, I think we wouldn't hate each other so much, or we wouldn't have built these imaginary stereotypes and these imaginary standards for ourselves that are they're just fucked up, man, because we just get anxious and hateful towards each other, and it makes no sense. It really doesn't. So
what do you think is the cause of how much like animosity people have, like how just tribal society seems right now?
There are like 5 brackets of that. The first one is religion. Y'all religious people out here being real divisive. Like, there's people that believe in love and believe in love and acceptance and loving thy neighbor. And I think we all know what religion I am pinpointing right now. There's like a specific one. I'm not going to name names.
The one you quoted?
They are very divisive and very judgmental and very hateful. And it blows my mind that it's like that. But religion, I feel like, is one of the biggest things that divide people. And it's really sad. I also think outdated stereotypes divide people as well. Divide them as well. So it's a lot. It's people in general. People with insecurity issues, people with anxiety, and people that don't know how to process that emotion, people who are sad. It's just like we're not accepting of ourselves, so we're not accepting of others, and it shows like hard. And we can put it behind whatever we want, but it's us as people that cause this problem, and it needs to be addressed sooner or later. And people are scared to address it because they don't want to feel that uncomfortable moment of being embarrassed and being put on the spot and being told like, hey, this part about you isn't okay, or it needs work. And we don't want to hear that. And we don't want to hear that we're not this great individual. And we get defensive. We come up with coping mechanisms that aren't healthy. And we separate ourselves from other people or try to put ourselves above other people. And it's really sad, especially for the fact we all came from a vagina. We all started out the same way. Like,
it was very equal then.
So it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, again, this goes back to the existential topic. When your third eye opens, you realize how quickly everything means, and it's so little. We mean so little individually. By ourselves, we are just like one little tiny ant in the colony. And I think if more people saw themselves like that and saw the way everything, it would be a lot different.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that. So what I think of when you say like that third eye opening was like experiences with psilocybin, where like the chemical helps separate like your ego from the rest of your personality, so you kind of get that sense of self taken away for a little bit, and you become really, really aware of the way you fit into your community and your place in the world or the universe. Most times, like we're talking about watching like nature shows that zoom out to the whole galaxy, and you're like, okay, I am kind of part of that, but also like what kind of part am I? So like you can still have a significant part and recognize that ultimately it's a very small blip on the radar of the human experience. And it still doesn't mean that you don't matter, but it does mean that you understand how much more you matter to others around you as well, because we're all in the same kind of position. And it's not a good position or a bad position. It's just, it's where we are, and you can make it better. You can make it good for those around you, depending on whether you want to walk through it as a selfish cunt the entire time, or you want to try to make life 10% better for somebody else.
Yeah. Honestly, when you're talking about that, it brings up like a lot of just like issues that we're having right now, like the issue of race. And I've never understood it, but maybe it's just coming from a place where I've been slowly educated on the subject, but like people making decisions based off of someone's skin color, and you just look at them like it doesn't really, it's like it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, you're choosing something so stupid to judge someone off of. But I don't know, man, like that's, it terrifies me in the fact that I have to battle that part where it's just like, do I matter or don't I matter? Because my actions can spread such a huge ripple wave into other people's lives. But if I'm such a small speck of dust on the face of the earth, does it really matter what I fucking do or what I fucking say?
I think if you add, yeah, so it's definitely terrifying. Like, brings on nihilism like crazy, thinking things like that for sure. But I think the best way that I've been able to manage, like when I have those "do I matter" thoughts, is to add "to whom" to the end of it.
Yeah.
Because I think about, yeah, because I think about the way, like, okay, well, if I don't feel like I matter, well, the people definitely matter to me. Maybe I matter to other people too. And maybe the way I behave and carry myself through this life that I'm having an existential crisis about, maybe the way I carry myself through this is going to be impactful for somebody else. Maybe it'll help them live their life through this weird experience a little bit better. You know, maybe it can, you know, it's like that, you know, that chain reaction that a smile can give to someone having a bad day.
Yeah.
I know it's super cheesy shit, but I mean, like, if you don't have this kind of hope, what's the point? You know, that's the only way to really combat that kind of nihilism. And it's like totally legitimate too. Like, my life is like infinitely better because of the people that I'm around and the appreciation that flows back and forth.
It's so much. And like, sometimes I sit here and I wish I didn't smoke all that weed. hit the fourth wall of my life. But other times I'm glad because I don't want to live in the ignorance, because I've taken so much of my life for granted, and so many different experiences and memories and things, thinking I had all this time, and I have all this like time left to build more experiences and redo. And to be honest, I really don't. I've gone through a fourth of my life, and I really look at myself and like, what do you have to speak for it? Not like I built an empire or I have my own business, but it's like, truly, what experiences have I made to speak for 1/4 of my life? And that's a scary thing to look at yourself and really truly ask, what of tangible worth do you have that you can take away from and people can take away from it? And it's fucking scary.
Oh, right. Well, especially for me, it's because for so long, like my entire adult life, I've been an EMT or a paramedic. So like I haven't had to really grapple with that much. Or when those thoughts did creep in, it was like, oh, okay, well, I'm doing this job. Like I'm valuable because of this job. But then when I finally got to the point after 10 years of the healthcare where I was like, all right, I'm tired of thinking of, like, I'm tired of wanting to kill myself, and I stepped away from all of it. All of my meaning was gone then too. Like, the rug got yanked out from under me, because my only meaning for all that time was I was valuable because of what I did. Well, now I have no more meaning here. Like, I feel like a retired horse put out to pasture. Like, at least I'm not glue, but like, what do I do? I feel like I was just coasting through every day, like nothing mattered at all, because I wasn't valuable anymore. I'm like trying to find that. Like, ego is extremely important. Like, it's good to separate yourself from it now and then to get some perspective, but it's incredibly important. Like, it's what keeps us alive in a way. Like, I mean, it's got to be an evolutionary instinct, because ego, like mattering to yourself, is what pushes you to get away from that predator, or pushes you to survive that winter, or to hold on for, you know, a child or something like that. So it's all about being able to recognize the different things that make people tick and what make them malfunction. And like, when you understand the way the human brain can healthily operate, then you can really start to understand and recognize when it's not operating healthily. Especially if it's your own, you can start making the required adjustments to try, treat it better. And like, I'm talking like I don't fuck this up every day, but at least I'm aware of what I'm trying to go for.
No, dude, like, it's humbling to sit there and tell yourself, like, you're not perfect. You're never gonna be perfect, but you can always work on yourself and work to make better decisions. And you have to be humble in order to do that. You can't sit there and set yourself on like, it's all about balance, man. All about balance. As hippied out as that sounds, it's all about balance, because you have to humble yourself and also hold yourself and know that you're worth every moment. And it's a very tedious balance session, but like, that's what everyone should strive for, just for balance. And it's one of the hardest things you'll do. You'll spend your entire life trying to do it, and it's hard. It's really fucking hard, especially if you do jobs or you live lives where life is continuously trying to knock you down, continuously testing you and your limits. It's really difficult to do that. But
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna ask if I could smoke. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
Absolutely.
No, sorry, continue though.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say, like, it's like you hit the nail on the head. Like, the reason balance is so difficult is because you don't ever achieve it for more than a very short time. Like, there's very short glimpses when you actually achieve it, because then you're just gonna start swaying the other way, or something's gonna happen, or a brick's gonna come hit you out of nowhere. So it's that being able to say, okay, well, you, like, looking at yourself in the mirror and say, you fucked that up. But then saying, okay, well, here's how you can do it better next time. That's so difficult, because not only do you have to admit that you're terrible, but once you admit that you made a mistake, it's really hard to build yourself back up to have the confidence of you be able to do it right the next time.
And real quick, just because I thought about this because of a situation that's recently happened. In that, though, there's something that really annoys me with people, and I used to do it too. I don't do it anymore. Is when you've hit that low, or you've made a mistake, or you've done something that you have to grow from, not expecting others to forgive you, or expecting others to just understand that you're going through something, or understand what you meant, and realizing, like, these are my decisions and people are allowed to react however they want to my decisions. That's their right. And that's another humbling part, where it's like, no one has to understand where you're coming from. No one has to give you that forgiveness, and they can withhold it from you at any time. And if that makes you uncomfortable and makes you feel like, makes you want to fix yourself less, then that's a character problem on your part, because you actually have to want that. That's all. I just because I thought about situations that have happened recently, and when someone messes up, they expect, like, you to just be like, it's okay, I see where you're coming from, if you give the apology. Or you just expect them to understand, like, oh, this is where I was coming from, this is what I meant, this is my past, let me give you this explanation. And this person just has to understand where you're coming from and give you that validity for forgiveness and stuff, when they don't. And I've been there where I was so uncomfortable that they wouldn't give me forgiveness, or be like, I get what you're saying, I get where you're coming from. And I'm like, oh fuck. And I felt so much more anxious, and I started getting frustrated and feeling mad. And it was like a come to Jesus moment, when I realized no one owes me anything. They can react or respond however they want, and I have to get the fuck over it. Like, you need to understand, when you put something out there, you're gonna get something back, whether you like it or not, or that person wants to forgive you or not, or wants to even listen to you or not, is all on them at that point. And it was a wild experience. I felt so, like, uncomfortable and shit. And I wish more people went through that too, realizing no one owes you anything.
I went through that, like, recently. There was someone that I genuinely made bad mistakes with, and it led to bad outcomes. And, like, I had to think, like, before they reached out to me, fortunately, but I thought about, like I wanted to reach out and apologize, but I'm like, well, am I apologizing for them, or am I apologizing for me? Like, is my apology going to bring up stuff that was traumatic, and now that they work through that all over again? Like, were they doing fine? Am I scratching at an old wound? Like, of course I'm going to feel better knowing that the person that I wronged gave me forgiveness, because then it seems like it's almost like vindication. And it's not letting me off. But I mean, because you can definitely forgive someone having worked through a lot of your own stuff, and it can be a great strength for you to forgive someone who has done wrong to you. But it was something that I grappled with for a while. Unfortunately, it was taken out of my hands, and I was able to express how I felt. Yeah. But at that point, it wasn't. I mean, again, like some people, they have that. Well, I had a bad day, and they use it as an excuse to justify their behavior instead of saying, "Hey, I messed up." The apology should be part of growth, not excuses.
I don't know if this is just personal for me, and it probably is. I don't know. There has to be at least one other person that thinks this way. But like, when I want an apology from you, or I give an apology, I don't put an explanation on there unless you ask me of one. Like, if you want a reason why I did what I did, okay. If you want my backstory, or like who I am as a person, or these things that led to me reacting the way or saying what I did, fine. But if I'm apologizing to you, I'm just giving you the apology. So that's what I want you to take away from it. I don't want to give you reasons as to why I did it. I just want you to know I'm sorry. I just want you to know that I feel like shit. And I just think a lot of people don't see it the same way. So the apology doesn't come off as genuine to me, because I'm just like, I didn't need the explanation. Because no matter what you tell me, I'm still going to feel the same way, because I'm still hurt. So please give me the same respect of just give me the apology. Just show me that you actually feel remorseful, and then give me changed behavior. Because an apology is two parts. There's the word, and then there's the action. And just sorry, but that's just me as a person. So I feel like I'm really biased sometimes, because I expect, this is my problem, I expect someone else to act the same way I would. So that's why I preface that.
Well, I think that, like, I've definitely had a lot of people give me faux apologies, where they would try to describe like where they were at and like make excuses essentially, or they weren't taking full responsibility for what happened. But I've also had situations where I had people come forth and take full responsibility for what happened, and then also explain, like they explain the situation from their perspective, then in a way that's not them trying to justify their behavior, but just trying to shed some light on the situation. Then I can sometimes understand and maybe empathize a little bit more, or maybe they brought some information to light that I wasn't aware of, and it can help me forgive in some cases. But again, like you still have to have a genuine, hey, like I'm not trying to make an excuse here. I'm making it very clear I messed up. I just want to shed some more light on it. I don't expect anything from you.
Yeah, because I've been there. I've been in the apologizer. But I do say it like, and I do say it like, hey, I'm super sorry. I feel bad. And I make I statements. I feel bad. I feel like I could have handled that better. I feel like I hurt you. I'm sorry. And I put the blame on me. I put that focus on me. I use feeling statements. I feel like I hurt you. So there's no accusations in it. But that goes back to psychology and really reading up on that. But even when I have someone apologizing to me, I do preface like, I just want an apology. Or I'll say, can you tell me why you reacted the way you did? Like, I'll preface that to get an explanation that I want. But sometimes I don't. I don't want your explanation, like, over the argument I literally just had maybe 2 hours ago with the guy about abortion and stuff. Like, I've had a lot of stuff happen to me that I don't talk to people about. I don't feel like they deserve that piece of me, that history of me, because it's something that I hold very dear to my heart. And when people sit there, it's like, only women like this can speak on this. And I'm just like, I am that woman, you stupid bitch. And then I get, especially like a man apologizing for being rude about abortion. I'm just like, you should have never even talked about it. You should have never spoke on it. So it's just like.
Now, do you think that's a teachable moment though? If he is apologizing, do you think it's an opportunity for you to teach him why he's so wrong about it?
Okay, this could be tedious because I want to say yes. I do. I really do, because I believe everyone can learn something. I believe everyone can take that moment and learn from it and change the way they view things. And I wish for that. I really do. But there's only so many times I can teach someone something and give them the benefit of the doubt before it's just like, holy fuck, you're the 12th dude in a week to say the same damn thing and do the same damn thing and disrespect me in the same way, and then I have to sit here and redo it and redo it and redo it. And
that is all the more reason I'm glad that you're on the podcast now, because hopefully we can get those 12 dudes to listen to this and they can just knock it, nip it in the bud, save you some time next week.
Yeah, I got this, like, as a woman and as I'm bisexual, that's everything in itself. But my friend's Black, and she has a lot of people jump on her post and they tell her what culture is. And they tell her how this is. And she'll sit there and she's like, I don't have to educate you. It's not my prerogative in life to sit here and educate you on something that's very clearly wrong. And she was just like, because there was one lady, she was like, you could have at least told me and we wouldn't have even had this conversation. She was like, you could have at least educated me instead of belittling me. And it's just like the sheer audacity, the sheer entitlement that comes with that, saying, you need to educate me, because if you don't educate me, I can treat you however I want. It's just like,
I'm mad at you because I was already mad.
like, it's fucking wild, man. Like, we have access to so much technology that condenses all books and knowledge into like a website, several different websites. Fuck it, we'll put Wiki out there, even though even in college it's not a credible fucking source of information, but you know what, we'll allow it. Even Wiki, you can Google so many topics. It takes 30 minutes of your day. Just take 30 minutes out of your day just to Google a topic you know nothing about, whether it be about medicine, about culture, about ethnicity, about different areas. Just take 30 minutes out of your day to Google something you've never ever thought about at all, and just learn for 30 minutes. Just read about it for 30 minutes of your day. That's all you need. And you would be so surprised how much you'll shut the fuck up when people talk about something. Because that's one big problem, is a lot of people will comment, will talk, will have this rebuttal, and they have no idea what they're talking about. None whatsoever. And I'm just like, first of all, have you done your research? Let's just make sure, because when you come to me, baby, just make sure you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, it's that line about confidence and knowledge. I can't think of the name of it right now. It sounds really dumb talking about a curve that I can't remember about knowledge, but it's basically, it's like, okay, you're the amount you know about something, like as you start learning a little bit about it, your confidence in that topic starts moving upwards. Then you keep learning more about it, then you learn more about it, then you learn enough to realize you don't know shit about it.
Yeah, you really don't.
And it just takes a nosedive.
And the woman that commented on my friend's page was a white woman. And I was just like, baby, stop.
Wait, you had a white woman lecturing a black woman about culture?
About culture, so it started with BLM and how she felt about that, and it was a steamroll of poop all the way down. And my friend just told her, like, she finally just explained it. You could tell my friend didn't want to, but she just did, in the sake of getting this woman to shut the fuck up. And the woman was just like, if you would have just said that from the get-go, none of this would have happened. I didn't know. You could have just educated me instead of belittling me. And I'm like, so.
That woman should have just not been a bitch to begin with and been like, hey, I disagree. Here's why. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, or she would have been
like, tell me more about your perspective. Why do you think this?
Or at least looked up the subject, because when I comment on people's posts about something, even if I do know about it, I look it up real quick. Especially if it involves actual people, I look them up. Mm-hmm. Because I might not know something that's actually there, and I don't like looking stupid. So I Google it real quick, and I read up on it for at least 15, and then I come back to it. Unless it's very heated and I see people being ugly, then I pull.
You just dive right in.
Yeah, just like whatever, wet water.
You're like, fuck the facts. I'm just gonna come in teeth snare, just going for the
I'm
jugular
calling people
immediately.
Potatoes. I'm getting banned. It's
getting
whatever.
Banned on Facebook for calling people vegetables. Wait, that would actually, calling someone a vegetable would actually be more offensive than what you call someone an obtuse potato.
She was an obtuse potato. I just, like, you're on a Disney page calling out a woman and making transphobic comments. and then you get offended about me calling you an obtuse potato? Like, make that make sense to me. And then she's over here, she cites me a wiki site, and I was just like, okay, bitch. First of all.
What was she even arguing? Like, what was she citing for? Like, she's... It's not like, was she just being transphobic and saying that it's a mental disorder and stuff like that?
She's just making very transphobic comments about someone who's not transgender at all. What is her name? She plays in The Mandalorian. She also plays in Deadpool as
Gina something. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, so she's a very strong woman.
She's a badass.
Mentally, she does have that physical strength and stuff that people would call masculine. She would appear very masculine to people.
She's a wrestler, wasn't she?
I think so. I think she was an MMA fighter, like a really good one.
Maybe it was MMA, yeah. But I know she did like combat sports.
All I'm gonna say, I don't know shit about MMA. I just know the girls are fucking stellar. So.
Oh yeah, some bad bitches.
That's all I know about it. I don't watch it, but I do know. I think she was in MMA.
Gina Carano, I think.
She's made some transphobic comments. I'm not going to speak on that just because we'll be here all day. But they have made a post about her in a Disney group about there being another Disney princess and talking about The Mandalorian. And they showed pictures of her in her different roles.
I've seen that, yeah. I thought it was great. I liked it.
Yeah, the picture with her in a dress and stuff.
She's beautiful.
Like, get you a bitch that can do both. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
But the woman first comments, what even is it? It.
Wow.
It.
That is not the way.
It. And then later on, she's like, I'm just wondering what even is that? That. Okay, so first of all, how she says the sentence was grammatically incorrect. I'm just going to put that out there.
I like how it's where you start.
Because
that's where I would start too. Well, it sets the whole stage for the rest of the argument. Like, if you start off with a grammatical error, then like you're immediately discredit yourself.
You know I'm coming from a place of scientific facts. This is an emotion, ma'am. You were fucking grammatically incorrect.
Do your research. Educate yourself.
I wish this would blow up and would get out to her because she knows who I am because she reported me on this freaking page and got me kicked out. Lady, you were grammatically incorrect, man.
Ooh, have your friends tag her in it, and then I'll come on, we'll have you both on the show, and that's what I'm gonna blow up.
I'm just like,
I mean, hopefully you'll resolve your differences too when you find some healthy resolution, but mostly I want the attention that fight would bring. So I'm gonna shamelessly sell it. Yeah, I'll sell out like that. Like,
you were grammatically incorrect, and I took that personally. I just did, and then she just using it and that is putting someone in a form of an object, and you're dehumanizing them. You're making them into animals and objects at that point, because that is literally grammatically what those words are used for. They're not used for humans. You're used for things and animals. So not only are you dehumanizing the person, but that you are making it in regards to her looking like a man or her looking like she's transgender, and that's how she made it sound.
Yeah.
And then she's sitting here like, I don't need your overly political views. I was like, baby girl, you're wrong. And she sat there acting like what her statement, like she made it sound like this, and she's like, that's not the way I meant it. I was like, okay, well, before you make your next comment, I want you to sit there for 2 hours and reread it and reread it and reread it. And if there's ever a thought bubble that's like, yeah, I need you to run with that one. That's the thought bubble I need you to run with.
See, I like for people like that. Like if someone says something, and actually, I think you saw a small example of it earlier today in my Chive group. But if someone says something that is like offensive or a borderline, like I think there's something there, or even if it's blatantly offensive, I'm just gonna be like, well, what do you mean? Like I want to give them enough rope to hang themselves with. So like I don't have to come off and say all this different stuff and put the effort into it. I'm just gonna ask you questions till you hang yourself and look like a jackass in front of everyone.
I wish I had the patience and
it is
the maturity to do that, because when I saw his comment, I was just like, I wish you weren't so fucking awkward, bud.
I was perfect, by the way.
Thought that came to my head.
I almost posted right after that. You're just spare parts, aren't you?
You know, you really.
But I feel like I already. Yeah, I was wearing my onesie earlier today too. I almost went back to revisit that and said, like, it's fine, man. I'm wearing mine now too.
Well, people are gonna watch us and they're probably sitting there right now like, what was the post, you idiots? Drop the tea. Spill the tea, sis. What's going on?
Listen, here's what we do. We'll talk about it after I stop recording this, and I'll maybe release it as bonus content sometime if you pay for a subscription. I'm gonna start monetizing this.
You have to earn the right for us to spill tea.
We've already got
whoever sees this.
We've already got my buddy Southeast Asia ping pong story. That's gonna have to go on paid subscriber content. We'll add this right in next to it. Just some super, super gross, like dehumanizing feed that my buddy watched. And then we're going to talk about how terrible that is.
Oh my God. No, the internet has blown up lately and my trigger moments have gone up as well. And I try to remind myself, it's just the internet, Becca. It's just the internet. None of these people would actually talk to you like this in person. But that's the part that gets it for me. The fact that these people would never say this to me in real life, in person. And they out here just acting wild and woolly. It upsets me.
People get really bold behind a keyboard.
Oh, they do. Especially when it comes to like sexist remarks, racist remarks, transphobic remarks, homophobic remarks.
What amazes me though is like I see like married men all the time just saying blatantly inappropriate things to women on Facebook, and you click their picture and you can see family. They're like their profile picture's got him, like kids and the wife, and it's like you're not even anonymous. You're like, we still know who you are, and you still don't care. Like you have no be proud of yourself, but like everyone needs a healthy amount of shame.
Dude, married men. No.
I knew as soon as I said that I was going to trigger something, and I'm not sorry for it. Lay it on us.
I can't stand me as a married man. I can't stand a married man, but I really can't stand a married man in the military.
Oh, fuck, we broke her. The Texas is coming out. The draw's here, guys. Watch out. I'm not safe. I'm in danger.
The gall, the audacity, the nerve. Like, oh my God, married men. First of all, I personally don't believe in the institution of marriage because I believe that it's more seen as a cuff instead of a commitment. I see it like that. Whoever doesn't, well, that's a you problem, not a me problem.
What do you mean by a cuff? You mean like an
obligation? It's like an obligation. You're basically holding a piece of paper saying you can't cheat on me now, instead of sitting there saying I'm committed to you. And I see that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And so I think a lot of people go into marriage for the wrong reasons, or they feel like they have to.
There's a lot of societal pressure to get married.
Yeah, and it causes these cracks in marriage. But I see a lot of these men, and I feel so bad for their wives because their wives will make posts of like, he chose me. And I was like, well, honey, last night he chose me to send a dick pic to, so maybe you should talk to him about that.
It sounds like you weren't the first choice. He's still trying. He's still shopping.
Yeah. And so what blows my mind, like, I don't like the married men, but the people that stan him are the worst, okay? Because the wife will come at me and be like, why did you do this to us? I'm like, baby girl, I didn't wake up this morning saying, you know what, your husband that smells like mayonnaise and looks like charcoal, I'm coming for him. He's crusty, dusty, and I love the flavor. I never did that. I didn't do that. I didn't wake up that morning and decide I wanted to topple a marriage. I woke up this morning with bedhead and weed breath. You weren't even on my mind, and Dave definitely wasn't.
I just found the title for this episode. So he's crusty, dusty, and what was the name of it? And I love the flavor. He's crusty, dusty, and Becca loves the flavor. There's the episode right there. This shit like writes itself. I'd have you on every time. Just be a co-host now. There's permanent fix of so we Tyndall's razor and also Becca's whatever you use to shave.
Becca's Panda Escape. Just like a little raised moment.
Yes, there it is.
Oh,
sorry, I didn't want to derail you, but I was going to lose that. And I just wanted to make sure I got that joke out there because at the end of the day, it's...
No, oh my God. Like, even thinking about married men, just my eyeball starts twitching. I'm like, oh, let's talk. Because I do have a lot of them in my DMs. I don't know why, because their wives will post, they're like, we're so in love, and they post these beautiful pictures, these happy pictures and stuff, and they'll literally be telling me how unhappy they are and how stuck they feel, and this, that, and the third, and I'm like, that's so sad.
Yeah.
So
I feel so bad for those women.
Dude.
But the ones who are aware of it and still go along with it, like always so confused about how, like, watching Cops, like they show up to a domestic violence situation, the guy's just wailing on her, they pull him apart, and then she's like, "Don't hurt him!" Like, he was hurting you.
I get that, because you feel stuck and you feel like that's what you deserve, or you love that person, because love can twist someone and make them do things they never thought they would.
Right, it can happen the same way with the loveless marriage too.
Yeah, they feel like they're competing. They have to show their worth to this person, or they just love them so much, and you've built so many memories, and you have so many obligations with that person, financially, emotionally, and you feel like you did something wrong. There's so many reasons someone would say something like that. It just pisses me off when you use me as the excuse. Because baby, I let you know. I told you I did fish for a little bit so I could get all the juicy details, so you know it wasn't like an accident. He meant something else, because I get that a lot. Or I used to do this where I would out guys that would send me explicit photos, or guys that would hit on me and they would be in a relationship. I would just literally screenshot everything and post it on my wall. Because people will say, well, you wanted it, you didn't say that. Oh, let me show you just how much I don't want this attention. And there would be people on my wall saying, you're really fucked up for putting their shit out there and shaming them. And I'm like, so I just need to shut the fuck up, see his winky, and be like, thanks, man, but can you not send me your dickly pickly right now, because it makes me uncomfortable. Thanks. And then just take their word for it. Or they'll be like, why don't you just block them? You just like the attention. I'm like, bruh, eat a Lego and choke on it. I'm so done with people. Like, it makes me so mad. Because it's like, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you wanted that attention. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you're okay with it. And it's just like,
you're in a lose-lose situation, because if you don't say anything, it just keeps fucking happening. These guys never learn. Then you say something, and everyone's fucking victim blaming you for wanting the attention in the first place.
And the guys don't stop with the first profile you block. It usually stops after the third or fourth profile they've made to stalk you, because it's stalking. It's stalking when you continuously berate someone after they've told you to stop or blocked you. Like, just leave the person alone. And if you continue after that point, that's fucking stalking. You're being weird. And I've talked to a couple of girls that I've worked with. They have the same fucking problem, dude. Verbatim. And it's usually married guys. I don't know what it is. I really don't. But married men are wild. There should be a series for them. Like a whole ass like Netflix series just for married men with Audacity. Like, they're wild. The word of the day is Audacity.
I was just gonna say, I just changed the episode title. It's definitely gonna be Audacity now.
Dude, honorable mention, married men. Like,
brought to you by married men. Brought to you by the Audacity.
Stand married guys. I can't stand married guys, and this is gonna sound very fucked up, but I don't care. Or white guys in long-standing relationships, and we all know what I mean. White guys are the worst. Still be in relationships that are like 6 years long. 6 years long. They're living together. They got cars together. They got financial obligations, and they're fucking 3 other bitches. And it's just like, Joe.
Oh, okay. I'm like, where's the bad part here? Like, there's tons of white dudes that are monogamous hanging out, but no, you got to the infidelity. Then I'm like, oh, okay, that's a big buildup.
Specific with it. If I'm gonna call people out, I'm gonna be specific, so you know exactly who I'm talking about. Okay, because Stuart. We'll call him Stuart because he's an actual person, and this dude was in a relationship with his girlfriend for like 6-7 years, man. 6 or 7 years, cheating like nobody's business. I met him in college, And he had his own place. He had his own truck. This stuff, cheating left and right. And her family was very wealthy. And he didn't want to lose that, I suppose, for what he said. And I just looked at him like, why don't you just break up with her? And he had all these obligations or whatever. He's like, but I care about you. And I'm like, no. One of these things aren't equaling the other. Like, what? I was like, why don't you guys just have an open relationship? He's like, I don't want her fucking anybody else. I'm like,
it's pure selfishness.
Wait! The speech is not coming. Like, what? And I'm just like, what? That's just wild. And married men, that's the line that I care about you, though. I want you, though. It's just like, that ain't what I asked, homie. I asked you why you still married to her.
Do you think they think they're gonna get some kind of pity for being like trapped in a loveless marriage, but still like staying with it? So, they think they're somehow noble.
Dude, I really think so. Especially guys like, I married her because she had a kid, and I wanted to be there for her and do the right thing. I was like, oh, so you're gonna cause her all this emotional trauma, not only for her but for you as well, which is gonna create unhealthy coping mechanisms, and you're definitely fucking hurting the kid. But you did the right thing, bud. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that's selfish.
Process that hurt and that betrayal and just like getting it over with, we just prolonged it by 6-7 years. Okay. Totally get it. You're right. Let me go get your crown real quick, king. I'll get it. It makes no sense to me. Like, that shit pisses me off. Like, because I know personally, me as a person, I am a very caring person, but like, to me, I'm not about PDA. I'm not about physical contact and stuff. I ask for consent. I want to be asked and stuff. So when a guy takes it upon himself already to like send me pictures and like lewd text, I'm already fucked up. You already fucked up no matter what but the fact that they have wives and girlfriends behind them, I take it so personally, and to the point that I will devise a plan. I will spend hours coming up with a plan to ruin this man's life. I don't know what it is. I go into James Bond mode, Mission Impossible, and I'm like, I personally want to hurt your life. I want to watch you cry in a room in soggy underwear you bought from Walmart. I want it so bad. And like, I will let them keep talking to me like that. And I will keep everything. And I will build rapport.
You realize you're doing exactly what I just said you don't have the patience to do? Or what I said I did that you have no patience for? Oh, you have the patience for it. Oh, yeah. Oh, you got that audacity too. You're literally letting them hang themselves with their own dicks.
Dude, I act like, I'll be like, oh, I'm interested. Oh, I'm interested. Tell me more. Yeah, daddy.
That's such a gross one. Oh,
I can do it, but I can't.
If anyone ever calls me that during an intimate moment, I'm sorry. I'm done. I mean, I'll come back, but I'm gonna need a few minutes.
Dude, they'll message me straight out the gate like that. So, you want to talk to daddy? And I'm like, sir, I'm calling the police. But like, I will do it, and then I have all this evidence, including pictures, and like, I want them to say stuff that is emotionally jarring. Like, I want them to say emotional stuff, like, I really care about you, this, that, and the third.
So it's more than just a fuck thing.
Yeah, so I can just like, I want your life to be over.
Just get it from every angle. Yeah.
And then once I've sent it all to the significant other and his entire family, I then will report him for sexual harassment. And I'm done. Because, and I know that's malicious, and there are people out there that's going to think that's fucked up. But
it is, but I also think sending your dick unsolicited to people is pretty fucked up too. And I think it's just so common. We don't talk about the gravity of it. Like, it's a very, very extremely gross and violating thing to do.
Dude, I wish I could let you into my head for like a minute.
Oh, I'm good. Like polar bear challenge, like 2 seconds maybe. No, I would not make it out. Yeah, no,
why is it so hot in
Why is everything screaming?
And you just see me come up. This is your emotional support, Becca. You're gonna need her.
I'm like, oh, you're the scariest thing in here. How long have you been here?
Dude. Okay, I wish I could USB a specific part of me so I could just show you like what I actually feel when I receive something like that. First, I really do feel disgust. I feel disgust and just like, ew, pathetic. Then I look at it and I'm like, why does it look like that? And I feel nausea, like a huge wave of nausea, because manscaping should be a thing.
From what I've seen, my friends have showed me, like, no one ever sends you pretty dicks.
They don't. They never think, let me at least make it presentable. No, they just fresh out the box. Whatever the bitch gets, the bitch gets. It's gonna be happy.
It's just not even fluffing involved half the time. It's just like, here it is, dude, casual Tuesday, so I walk around with it.
But honestly, I feel like I did something to deserve that. I immediately take it upon myself, and I'm like, what have I done to make him feel like I would allow that? And
you think that's part of because everyone like victim blames you for getting it in the first place sometimes?
Yeah,
it starts to subconsciously seep into you, thinking that, you know, it's not just them being obnoxious and blaming you, like it's actually psychologically changing the way you approach the situations and making it more negative for you.
I do, because that's why I get so angry and so ugly about it, because I want it out there. I do not want this shit. It makes me uncomfortable. I feel like harassed. It's basically like them being in front of you and whipping it out. It's just like, sir, like, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel bad about myself, and I really take that personally and take it into myself. Like, what have I done to make you think that I want this type of attention? And I mean, Justin, you've seen my social media, and you've seen how I am with other people. I feel like personally I don't give out the tone that I want that kind of attention. Mostly because even on the Zoom chats, I've fucking gone off when people, like, they make lewd comments, they show pictures I don't like, this, that, third, without my consent. Like, ask me first so I can leave. And I go off, I'm like, you will ask me for permission first, because that's something that's close to me. So when I get images like that, bro, I internalize so much. And then all the rage comes out because I'm like, I need to show them I need them to know. I need everyone to know I don't want this attention.
And then you put it out there to try to stop it, and then other women are like, oh, you're asking for it. And the dudes say it too, and then other dudes see that, and they're like, oh, okay, well, she wants it, so I'm going to jump in there too. And it all just kind of piles. It's like a vicious cycle of just dicks, just sad dick cycle.
I didn't even think about the woman part, though, because, okay, with men, y'all, I'm kind of used to y'all. I'm kind of used to y'all at this point.
Well, I was going to ask you what gets you the same amount of anger, if anything, from a woman? Just two sides to a lot of these coins.
I think I'm more pissed off with women because, I mean, again, you see me in Zoom chats. I won't talk down about a woman unless she's in the room and she can defend herself, or period, especially in front of men. I refuse because I spend so much time preaching about how a man should treat me and other women. I do. And I refuse to give them any ammunition to use it against me. Basically saying, well, a woman's calling another woman that, so why can't I? Another woman's treating another woman like that, why can't I? So I refuse to give men ammunition. I really do. And I know that's a fucked up way of thinking about it. But at this point in time, we are at a time where women are having to fight for equality, which is sad. So we have to be very, like, strict about that. But, like, when I see a woman come on a post like that and tell me that I'm attention seeking, I ask for that, it really does. I want to fucking fight her. I really do. Because it's just like, girl, you could go through this too. This could be you. My position could be your position, honey.
It probably is in a lot of cases. They're just so conditioned to behave a certain way and crave certain kind of attention or certain kind of pressure from, like, I noticed this when I was younger too. Like I've heard guys, of course, do atrocious things and all the time. But when it comes to like friendships or like passive aggressiveness and things like that, like I've seen women be so cruel to other women, like time and time again. I'm not doing this, oh, you're talking shit about dudes, now I'm not talking shit about women. I'm just saying, like, as a whole, people treat each other very shittily. And why do you think some women would do that, though? Like being a population that's had so many issues, and it's been so much like girl power against the world, why would there be so much vicious infighting in certain cases?
Because we're jealous. We're jealous. We're insecure. I don't know, man. Like, when I was younger, I was raised in a conservative type household in Texas. So my viewpoint about the female dude, in Texas, they don't even have like sex ed, like true sex ed. So I didn't even know a lot about that. I didn't know a lot about my body, and how I was raised was to feel very ashamed about my body and who I am as a woman. And like, that's how I was raised. So when I viewed other women, I viewed them the same way. So I think a lot of that would dissipate if we gave education, like true female body education that isn't biased. But we're jealous of one another. We're angry. We're scared. We're fearful. Because keep in mind, a lot of us agree with men out of fear, because you can't have your own opinion. We do it for, some of these bitches do it to get attention because they're a pick-me bitch. They think that if they get the male approval, they're cool and they're different. Oh, she's different. But like, I'm trying to think, because there was something that, so this guy made this post, this white guy made this post about Camilla Harris. They called her a really derogatory fucking name, her and another woman. And I was like, yo, that's fucking cringy, dude. That's all I said. And he was just like, I just believe women have no place in politics, and they don't value their place in the household. And I was just like, we're in 2020. We are in 2020. A whole ass 2020. And you are still saying a woman's place is to make babies, cook for you, and live subservience, like a subservient life. Like,
people like that need to study more history, so they need to know about people like Margaret Thatcher.
Dude, I was so upset with him, and he doubled down on it. And I was like, does your girlfriend know you think this way, that you think of her in such a low fashion? Because that could be her. She could be a politician. She could do. And he was like, I would hope she would agree with me. I was like, she doesn't know. Okay, great. That's sad. I hope if you ever have a daughter that she finds support and love through some other channel and knows her worth, and she doesn't come to you for that kind of stuff. Then a woman jumps in, and she agrees with everything he says, and she was like, this is why I don't argue with other women. Y'all are dramatic. First of all, after writing me a whole ass fucking novel, an epilogue, so to speak, of what she thought, but we're going to talk about how I'm dramatic. And she was just like, women are so dramatic. I was like, bitch, you is women. Women is you. What are you talking about? You are a woman. Like, we the same ass bitch. What are you talking about? Like, that she completely desensitized herself from her own group. Like, she sat there in a group of men and said, I got a dick. I was just like, honey, like, stop trying so hard. Stop. You don't need to do all that. But like, it really killed me that she had desensitized herself and then put me as the bad guy for speaking up and saying that's a horrible way to view women. And she agreed with it. I was like, so you basically are agreeing with him dehumanizing you. And you're okay with that because you now have the male attention and the male favor. That blew my mind. And those type of women, I'm sorry, I will speak shit about, because, girl, you respect yourself. Have a little respect for yourself. Have a little love and worth for your own body, for your fellow woman, dude, because I'm damned before I'm viewed as a goddamn dishwasher and incubator. And to say women don't have a place in politics. You all came from a vagina. You all came from one. So you might as well at least respect the thing that you came out of. It kept you float for 9 months.
Or recognize the scientific fact that you're just as capable of doing things like politics like that. Like, this isn't up for debate. Like, you're not dumber than men. Like mentally, you have the same mental acuity. When it comes to those kind of, like, you're perfectly capable of doing those same kind of political jobs.
It makes, I wish we could, because when I think of equality, I think of if you are qualified for the job, you should get it.
Meritocracy.
Like, period. That's how I believe things should be. If this person can do this, that person should be allowed to. Whether you're man, woman, black, white, Jewish, Muslim, this, that, if you can fit the stand, if you can do it, go fucking do it. Except for murder. That's not a job. You're not allowed to murder. That's the only caveat. That and pedophilia are my two caveats. The murder for legal reasons, so no one thinks of advocating for murder, and pedophiles because you all should burn. But
that was pretty black and white for me too. Yeah.
Yeah, those two caveats. Just because you can murder someone doesn't mean you should murder someone unless they're pedophiles.
So anything legal, we'll throw that in there.
Yeah.
Anything legal and morally righteous. So
I also believe that if someone wants to ask help, they should be able to, whether it is a man asking for help or a woman. Whether that be on menial tasks about, hey, can you help me pick up this couch? Or, hey, I need emotional help. And it shouldn't be held against them, or they should be favored more because of whatever race they are. And I am speaking to mental health for men because it is under talked about and it needs to be discussed. Men should be able to reach out and say, like, hey, I'm having emotional trouble, and people be like, you're being a fucking pussy. First of all, bitch,
right.
Pussy's mad fucking strong. That bitch stretches out 10 times her size and retains her elasticity. A penis could never. So I need people to stop comparing weakness to pussies when we all know pussies are the strongest piece of the body. But sorry, that pisses me off. But it's just like men should be able to sit there and be like, hey, I'm sad. And people say, why are you sad? Instead of, you need to grow up, be a man, you need to be stronger. Why are you being so weird? You're being gay. You're making me uncomfortable with your display of emotion. We need to, like, cut that shit. And that's what I view equality. And we're never going to get there because people are shitty. But we can strive for it, and that's what I want to be.
Do you think there's any hope? I mean, really? I mean, do you think that, like, if you look back, you know, looking back in the 60s where things were at then, you know, there's definitely progress being made. I mean, it's a slow turning battleship for sure, but I think it's being steered in a much better direction. But how do we keep that steering going while being frustrated that it's so slow, but also being still hanging on to the hope that can encourage us to keep trying to educate and build this community in a better way?
First of all, and this is part joke, part not, I think we should just take warning labels off. Not just chemical bottles, but on discussions and topics and stuff. We need to stop taking warning labels off and let people just drown. Because at this point, it is 2020. We know racism's bad. We've been doing this for 60 years now. 160 years, around there. If we're going to bring slavery into it, which no one wants to do because we need to get over it. We're just going to bring up the 60 years. We know sexism is bad. We know homophobia is bad. We get this at this point. People need to stop expecting others to give them that curve because of where they're from, because of how they are. Take the warning label off. Let people die out. Let these old ideas die out. Let them, these anti-maskers, let them stop wearing masks. Just let them do it. Let them fucking do it and let them die. Let them figure out for themselves why they should have fucking listened. Just stop. And do your precautions. It does suck because they're gonna go out there and they're gonna make it harder for us that have been paying attention. Just let them die. And then I saw one where it's just like, we're just gonna move to Florida and we're gonna let them do it. Let them go to Florida.
Hang on. I don't want all that shit down here. We're dealing with enough right now. I just posted a sequence of photos of a heron eating an alligator. Like, the birds are eating reptiles. Like, the dinosaurs are being eaten by the birds. It's the full evolutionary cycle here. Like, I can't handle, like, more political bullshit. Like, we're good. We're full. The swamps are rising.
We're either gonna send them to Alabama or Florida. So
Alabama.
I'm going to take Alabama off the map first, but beggars can't be choosers. But there's like, we're going to go to Florida, we're going to mince Petershills, and we're going to divide off. And I was like, first of all, give it 20 years, the weather will do that for you. But other than that, I'm just looking at it, I was just like, let them do it. Let them go off to their own land without masks and hatred, and see how long it takes for a Holocaust to pop off. Just let it happen. Just let them do it. Let them die off. But like, I say that in a joking way, but in life, just take warning labels off. Stop treating people with the understanding that they need like a quick, what is that called? A recap. They need a quick recap of your life, their life, what this means, what that. Force them to educate themselves. Force them to be a better person. Force them to. I get younger people.
How do you force someone to do something, though? Because that starts getting a little authoritarian.
Which, I'm not saying that I'm going to sit there with a whip and be like, you better read.
I think we need to take warning labels off of conversational topics. I think we need to take warning labels off of very volatile issues and be able to talk about them in a respectful way. Now, the issue there is a respectful way. Because, I mean, people are obviously, if you look at social media, people aren't afraid to talk about controversial topics. They're just afraid to actually take the time to take the pride aside, take away their preconceptions about these topics, and try to actually learn objectively what's going on with it. And I think if everyone took a chance to go into a conversation about something they don't agree with wanting to learn why the other person thinks that, not in a way to attack them, but to say, well, maybe I'm wrong about this. I think the world right there would be a much better place. And I think we need to stop getting hung up on little things people say that they don't. Like, there's things you said today that have triggered parts of me, or I'm like, I kind of want to push back about this, but I'd rather just talk. I want to hear what else maybe I'll learn more about it as we keep talking. And sure enough, almost everyone, I'm like, yeah, I totally understand why she thinks that. I still might not totally agree with some of it, but for the most part, for this conversation, like 95%, I'm pretty much with you. But,
I was about to be
but
like,
if I wasn't,
no,
but if there was something that I really thought was worth addressing, then I would bring it up and talk about it. But again, like just me being able to say, well, I'm gonna let her talk. I'm gonna look at this from trying to understand her instead of trying to think of how I'm gonna reply to try to get a slap back or whatever it is. Is it clap back or slap back? I said slap back before, and someone else said clap back, and I'm like, am I that guy now? Am I saying like am I the Pokemon's guy?
Slap back a thing. We can just
that's gonna be
noise.
that's gonna be part of the title of it. There's gonna be a slap back.
So when you do like the little segments where you give them, like we were talking about earlier, you can call them slapbacks because you're finally giving the information or like good like.
There you go. That's what's going to be an informative clapback. It's going to be called a slapback. I like it. Becca, this is a fucking blast. Like, we've talked for over a total an hour and a half now since I started this, but we were talking for like an hour 15 minutes on the recording.
And I thought I would get 30 minutes out because I was scared I'd fuck it up.
Oh no, you fantastic. I mean, it was like, and I'd highly recommend anyone that usually listens to this, please watch the video for this one. YouTube.com. Actually, I don't have a URL for the podcast page yet, but just throw Tyndall's Razor in there, or check out all the links. They're always in the description. But your facial expressions, Becca, like every time you hear on the audio, there's like a bit of a pause. Oh, there's no pause in what's going on with Becca. Like the mannerisms and the body language, like it's a language I don't even recognize. but it just seems so artful. And
I can't hide my face. I can. My words I can stifle down, but my face needs deliverance because you'll know like within 3 seconds.
I think your expressiveness between whether it's body language or verbal language is something that's really, really important, and we need more people who are able to, talk like that. And of course, with a place that we need people that aren't afraid to push back against things, but still educate people who are open to be educated. I think there's a very good balance between the two. Because like, there are times when people will start saying stuff and just talking shit, and I won't call them out on it because I just don't feel like fighting with it.
Yeah.
And we need people that have the motivation, or there's a stronger word for motivation I was thinking of, but I lost it. No, it's more positive than that still. But basically, you have the strong desire to push back against these kind of things, to fight that good fight with certain cases.
Yeah.
You don't want to turn everyone into a martyr, but
no. But I mean, facial wise, 97% of all communication is nonverbal. And people need to realize that, especially in arguments. But like when it comes to, for argument's sake, find something that you're really passionate about and move with it. And I just happen to be super passionate about the livelihood of my friends and family, which I don't know why more people aren't, but and even people I don't know, because I would hate it if I'm struggling, if I'm dealing with fucked up shit and no one says anything about me. Because to choose to not do anything is making a choice in itself. And so that's what I'm passionate about. And that's why sometimes I'm tired and sometimes I'm like, fuck, dude, I really don't want to get into this. And then I think, man, how tired must my friends be to have to deal with this shit every fucking day. And I just find that new devotion to just making people's life as miserable as I can. Like even to like, someone asked me, there was a guy, he made a very racist comment on Facebook, and I found his family, I found his job, I found where he got his degree. I spent hours on this and just started sending emails with all the screenshots. I emailed the the group his son's in, because I take everyone.
What do you say? Holy shit.
Dude, so I sent the email just saying like, hey, I just want you guys to know this.
No, what'd he say? That is extreme reaction.
So his mom got the message first, I suppose, or he didn't get they didn't let him know if anybody else got it. And his mom was like, he sent me the screenshot. His mom was pissed. Like, I raised you better than this. Who the fuck told you could say this word? This, that, and the third. How fucking dare you? And now I have people messaging me about it. She's like, thank God this poor girl took initiative and called your ass out. How fucking dare you? Don't come to my house. Talked about money he had asked her for.
What did he drop the N-word or something?
Yeah, he did. He didn't.
And like a really hateful context. Like, he's not like quoting a hardcore artist.
So I'm not saying these words, and I am greatly against. I'm not gonna say the N-word because I can't do that. I can't bring myself to say that word.
Okay, don't say it. Then I will get canceled. Like the legitimate way. Yeah, no, don't say that.
Yeah. After he used that, he continued and then called my friend a porch monkey. First of all, the sheer ignorance rages through me.
I just hate that porches get a bad rap. Like, every day I'm on my porch in Florida. It's amazing.
Dude, I'm so ignorant because I look at monkeys sometimes, and I think we look more like monkeys than a black person does. Like, I look at them, and monkeys don't really have lips, and white people really don't have lips. So I'm just sitting there, and like, I'm just looking at them, and I'm just like, I don't know why. Anyways, but he used this word, and I don't know, I took that personally, and maybe I overstepped a boundary by doing it instead of letting my friend handle it. I'm not sure. But the moment he started messaging me about all the other people that found out, because slowly he was like, you messaged my brother, you messaged my son's school, you messaged my job. And I was just like, I messaged your school too, bitch. They're getting that email soon. Like, to see that and to see that rage, and then it went from, I'm sorry, can you just take this down, to how dare you're ruining my life. And it's just like, you ruined your life. You did this. I didn't do shit. My friend didn't do shit. Nobody did anything to you. You did this. To see that, sure, like,
Did your friends say anything? Because, like, typically my stance is, like, unless I like my friends to fight their own battles if they're able to.
Yeah.
So what's there? I'm not criticizing what you did. I mean, I'm not part of it. So I'm not going to judge. I'm not playing Monday morning quarterback with a game I didn't play. But how'd your friend react? Were they appreciative of all the effort?
I agree with you, because I did the same thing to myself, because I immediately regretted doing it, because I was like, oh fuck, that was her fight. I shouldn't have overstepped anything.
Especially with the race component involved.
Yeah, that's why I usually, like, I will advocate for my friends, but if I let my friends fight their battles. Like, I'm standing there behind them like, don't worry, motherfucker. When she throws the first hit, I'll throw the second. Don't worry, I'm still here. I just believe as a white woman, I need to mind my lane. I'm here to help my friend. I'm here to advocate for my friend, but I don't understand my friend's struggle, and I will never understand that. So I'll let my friends speak for themselves.
Right. That's where I see a lot of fucking white people telling other white people how they should behave and treat black people. I'm like, well, why don't we just talk to black people and they can speak for themselves?
Well, I'll sit there and be like, yo, don't be saying stuff. Don't be doing this. Don't be.
Right. Now, if I'm in a group of white people and someone's saying something that's, super offensive, I'll be like, yeah, you shouldn't talk like that. But if there's, a black person in the group, I'm not gonna jump in. I'm not trying to prove I'm one of the good ones. Yeah. I'm just gonna be me, and then my friends will naturally see that I'm not a racist dickhead, But I'm not constantly trying to prove my virtue.
Yeah, like
hang out with me, talk to me, listen to the podcast, and figure out if you like me or not.
Dude, my friend, she messaged me and stuff, and I apologize for that. She's like, no, dude, I get where you're coming from. And I told her, I was like, so I did a thing.
You did several things.
And she was like, what? Because I really didn't say anything on her thing other than, yo, dude, you're fucked up. And I told him to watch his mouth. And that was my warning, by the way. I'm going to preface that. That was the warning. If he would have stopped at that point, I would have left shit alone. But he didn't. So I took that and I ran with it. But I was like, so I did a thing. And she was like, what did you do? Because she knows I'm crazy. So she's already like, oh no. And I was like, I sent her all the screenshots. And she's like, Becca. I was like, I know. I panicked and I reacted. And she was just like, I'm not mad. Like, I really am not. He deserves what he gets. And she's like, honestly, I'm glad you did it. So I don't have people telling me I'm fucked up for doing it. And I was like, I would have done it to them too if they would have said that to you. But like, she wasn't upset. And I think maybe she could have been if I didn't say like first, like, hey, I'm sorry for stepping out of line. This wasn't my place to do. But would I do it again? 10 out of 10 would recommend. I would do it every fucking time. Like, I wouldn't even hesitate, dude. I would fuck a bitch up.
Becca, you've got a passion that, while it's extremely rough around the edges sometimes, I really appreciate the core of it. I'm really glad for her friends. I'm really glad you hopped on to talk with me tonight.
I'm glad too, because I was kind of nervous about it, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna blink. I'm not gonna know what to say. It's gonna be weird. I'm gonna be weird. But it was a lot smoother than I thought.
Well, it's nice. After a few minutes, you forget there's a recording button in the corner. You just keep talking. And plus, our entire friendship is based on communicating just screen to screen like this anyway.
Yeah, so it makes it easier. Because I think if me and you would have met in person first, and then we would have gotten on here, I've been like,
yeah, it's weird. Well, it's been weird, like with my good friends when the pandemic first, like I started this earlier this year. So it's like right on time to like bring people in to talk to that I can't bring in the talk. Thank God I should have bought stock in Zoom as soon as I started seeing stuff about lockdowns and stuff. I was like, ooh, I should have seen that coming. But so it's been weird. I mean, it's on the one hand, it's been really nice being able to have Zoom because I'm able to talk to people that I never would have been able to have, on the show if I was just sticking to one-on-one conversations. Like, I mean, I had Ryan on not that long ago, so like stuff like that's really cool. And I've got a bunch of plans for people who are all over the place. I mean, again, like you wouldn't have been able to have a conversation with me in this kind of format either. No. So that's one silver lining to. I think one silver lining to everything that's going on and how we're being like shut down, or finding new ways to communicate. And I think with those new ways of communication, we're able to have more conversations about things that need to be discussed that are really coming to a head right now. And I think that there is an element of, as much as the Zoom sucks compared to being like face-to-face in person, I think there is still an element of removal that helps you be more comfortable to talk about certain things in some circumstances. So, like, okay, at any point, if things get super weird, I can just click this off button and I'm good, I'm safe. I'm still at home in my safe spot. I think that's a way, there's something to be said about being able to evaluate these kinds of things from still like the safety of being in your home, but not having any kind of risk. If you're talking about volatile topics, of course, you're going to have heated, arguments in some cases. And if people start getting emotional about things, there's always a threat of violence. And if you can remove that from the conversation, I think you can have a much more honest conversation.
Well, I know especially with me because, like I said before, I have a problem with physical contact with people. I really don't like it. I don't like being hugged. I don't like shaking hands. I don't like being touched. Just don't. So when I meet someone in person, sometimes I'm more guarded just because there's that constant fear that this person will assume they can like touch my leg or shake my hand or hug me. So I try to come off a little off-putting, but that there's that constant barrier that you're never going to break with me. So getting on Zoom has kind of disarmed me in a way where I feel more comfortable to talk about subjects that normally I really wouldn't talk to that person at all in real life. So I know that for me and for anyone else who deals with that, this Zooming experience has been beneficial and just so easy for me because it's so much easier to make friends when I don't have to worry about my physical, like me not like being physically near somebody. So I know from that standpoint it helps.
See, the year's not all shit. There's a couple of silver linings in there for us.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, one of the happy things I had during this year was getting to meet you and that whole group. And I'm really glad you came on and talked. Is there anything you want to plug? Any resources you want to send people to if they want to educate themselves and stop being obtuse potatoes?
That. Damn, I should have researched that.
We'll tell you what. So this isn't going to come on until Thursday. So if you want to research, I'll throw it in the description so everyone can link to it.
I think my biggest one would be like the 30-minute rule. If I could ask anyone to do anything, I need you to, even on topics that are hated or this, that, and third, just take 30 minutes a day to research a topic you don't know about or that you are scared of or that you're fearful of or that you have a misunderstanding or something that makes you angry. Take 30 minutes and read about it. Read different sites. Read sites that are biased. Read sites that aren't biased. Read neutral sites. Do anything. Just read something and make yourself more knowledgeable on a subject. And 30 minutes is all it takes. You can do that pooping. Take your morning poop and scroll.
I could not agree more. I mean, the setting is totally up to you. I do the poop scroll as well. But what I usually do is if I have a certain point or an argument that I'm trying to make, what I'll do is I'll go type that into Google with the word debunked after it. And I'll see what comes up. And if there's compelling evidence, people need to realize that I'm going to sound like Joe Rogan, but like you should be married to your ideas. Like my ideas are not who I am. Mm-hmm. My opinion about something is not necessarily, I know my opinion might be an expression of who I am, but my ideas about stuff or the way I think about things, I'm not married to it. They're going to evolve. They're going to change. Yep. And so people need to realize that just because you have an opinion that's wrong doesn't mean you as a human being and your existence is wrong. It's not a dumb idea. I've had tons of dumb ideas. I mean, look at this sweater. This is a horrible idea.
You and that sweater, homie, are going to be very
so comfortable. I want to die in this or because of it. Either way. My mom bought it for me. I love it. Anyway, if she makes it through this episode, we'll see. But Becca, thank you so much again. And I can't wait to talk to you all soon. I am going to try to be much more consistent with my episodes coming out. I'm actually recording episodes ahead of time. I've got 2 this week I'm really stoked about, maybe even 3. So I'm going to run out of hosting space at some point, but that's fine. A homeless podcaster is a new kind of romantic art, right?
Yeah.
Figure it out as I go. At least I've got a warm sweater. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If you want more conversation that cuts through the noise, you know where to find everything. TimosRazor.com is hopefully going to be up very soon. Love you, Ryan Hartman. We're doing great there. And that's where I'm at my blog. So if you hate my voice, you can really hate what I write, too.